you don't already know from my channel, I've grown up in Southern California. I know the rides in Southern California like the back of my hand. Today we're gonna take a look at all the water rides in this region of the country. We have some pretty good ones here. We got a decent collection of theme parks that have some awesome water rides. So to be clear, when I mean water ride, I don't mean water slide like you would find at a water park like Soak City, Hurricane Harbor, Wild Rivers, etc. We're looking at water rides that you would find at a theme park, like a log flume, a rapids ride, a flume ride. Those types of attractions are what we're going to be looking at today. What inspired me to make this video is the fact that I count an even 10. So today we're going to go through 10 water attractions in the Southern California region. By my definition of a water ride, there has to be a chance of you getting wet. So for that reason, we're going to disqualify attractions like Jungle Cruise, the Mark Twain Riverboat, the Sailing Ship Columbia, Davy Crockett Explorer Canoes, the rafts on Tom Sawyer's Island, It's a Small World, Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage, Storybook Land Canal Boats, and I think that's all the water attractions at Disneyland that don't get you wet. Before we get started, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm a pretty small coaster and theme park channel, so I would greatly appreciate your support. We're gonna start things off at number 10 at Six Flags Magic Mountain, which is Jetstream. The area of the park that Jetstream is in is honestly pretty ugly. Like, it's not pleasant to be in at all. That's one of the main reasons that this ride ranks so low. Like, it's a perfectly fine flume log ride thing. Like, it's technically not a log ride. Like, it does have a different dynamic because of that like bouncing motion it makes during the run out. But like when you're actually in the flume, it does feel pretty similar to a log ride. But most of the layout for this ride is underneath Ninja, and Ninja and Jetstream are just so ugly. Like, they really need to take care of this corner. They really need to refresh it. They need to do something. There needs to be some sort of attention drawn to this corner of Magic Mountain, because right now it's just absolutely ugly. It's hideous. Like, I know there used to be a lot of trees in this corner of the park, but there was an accident a few years ago where a tree branch like derailed Ninja, so that was a whole thing, and then they had to chop down all the trees, and now it's just a total eyesore. But I mean, beyond that, the attraction is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, the drop is actually pretty tall, and like I said, that bouncing motion it makes in the run out is pretty fun. So I'm a solid fan of Jetstream. We're gonna walk up the hill to Roaring Rapids for number 9. I think I've only been on this ride once. Like, it's a pretty tame raft ride. If I remember correctly, the rafts are like pretty big, so they don't move that wildly or aggressively like a couple other raft rides that we're going to talk about later. But I do remember getting soaked, so it does its job. It's in a more wooded area of the park, which is really nice. It's much prettier than Jetstream, but still not like 100%. It is a Six Flags park, so there's that. I also love the view that you get of this ride from Tatsu's drop. It just, like, you pretty much drop over the station, and it looks like you're gonna fall all the way down into the water, so that's really, really cool. This ride is closed all the time. I mean, a lot of these rides do close because they are water rides. Like, if you're not at a Disney or a Universal park, they do go down for the winter months, so that is kind of a shame. But I feel like Roaring Rapids is probably the most temperamental out of all the attractions on this list, and whenever I see it open, it always has like a massive line, so when I go to Magic Mountain, I usually skip it. But for number 8, we're gonna hop on the 5 and take it all the way down to SeaWorld San Diego for Shipwreck Rapids. This one has much better theming than Roaring Rapids at Magic Mountain. It's much more pleasant to be around. Like, I love that little canyon with the waterfalls by Manta. Like, that's a really cool visual. And then you literally go under a waterfall. You go past a water wheel earlier in the ride, and the rapids is really fun. The ride vehicles are smaller, so it like bounces around more. And I love that SeaWorld has like these little cannons, so you can pay and absolutely shower people on the ride. That's just so much fun. I love those guest interaction tools. It's just amazing to do that. It's not amazing when someone does it to you, which is like all the time. There's always someone camping there and just spraying everyone who rides the ride. So if you ride Shipwreck Rapids and you don't get splashed by that hose, then consider yourself lucky. I also like the lift on this attraction. Like, at the very end, like, you can see like the corkscrews that are lifting the water back up to the top. That's actually a really cool visual. I really love watching this ride. I love watching all of these rides. I feel like, I don't know, water rides just have an interesting dynamic to them that's fun to watch. On the other side of the park is number 7, Journey to Atlantis. This one used to have a really, really pretty color scheme, and then fairly recently they painted it blue to appease the Coastal Commission or whatever, and it's so ugly. It used to be so pretty, and now it's just gross. It looks so much worse than what it used to. So honestly, that's probably the biggest downside of this ride. It is a water coaster, so it's a water ride and a roller coaster, which is really cool. So you might think that it should rank higher, but honestly, the roller coaster sections aren't that impressive. It is kind of shaky, and theming is pretty much non-existent on this ride. Like, it's literally the two towers that you look at from off-ride. That's basically the entire extent of the theming. It does have an elevator, which is really cool. That's probably one of the most interesting parts of this attraction. Like, it tilts you from side to side as you go up, because the elevator has like two different load platforms, I guess, and it has to get out of the way of itself, so it'll tilt you to one side and then it'll tilt you back to the other side as you're going up, and it tilts you really at a pretty steep angle, so it's kind of freaky. But it is really fun. The two splashdowns are really fun. I think my favorite part is just that drop where the water is. And just like Shipwreck Rapids, this ride has a bunch of water cannons, so you can splash people. It's honestly more fun because it's like a giant burst, so it's more of a timing thing. But when you time it right, you can absolutely soak people on one of those boats, so it's just so much fun. Like I said, my favorite part of this attraction is that first drop, which you get a view of from off-ride. I just love watching this ride, honestly. It's just so much fun to hang around. At the time of this recording, it is closed for refurbishment, so we'll see if they update it. I don't have any faith that there'll be any major changes, but we'll see, I guess. But man, do I miss that original color scheme. For number 6, we're going to Knott's Berry Farm for Calico River Rapids. In terms of dynamics, it is very similar to Shipwreck Rapids, but I would argue that this ride has better theming, and it's also longer, so that's cool. You pass like a bear animatronic. There's a few animatronics throughout the ride course, and it is a pretty wooded setting, so it's just pleasant to be around. I used to ride this ride all the time, but I have not been on it for quite a while, but it's pure fun. Like, Rapids rides are just amazing. Like, when you have a group of friends that you're with and it's like Russian roulette, like, I love that dynamic, and those ride vehicles are constantly spinning, so it is just so much fun. It is very similar to Shipwreck Rapids, but because it's longer and because I prefer the theming, I prefer the aesthetic of Calico River Rapids compared to Shipwreck Rapids. Unfortunately, on the final lift, you do get like a gnarly view of backstage Knott's Berry Farm, but like, other than that, it is pretty immersive. And I do like the queue. The queue is pretty nice. If it's a walk-on, you have to go on like a trek. Like, there's no way to bypass the queue. You have to walk through the whole thing because it's just one long straight line. So if you ever do a night ride on Calico River Rapids, that's a good way to get your steps in. Night rides on water rides go crazy. Like, that's something I love about any of these rides. I love doing night rides. Number 5 is by far my favorite Rapids ride I've ever ridden. It is Grizzly River Run. So Calico River and Shipwreck are both generic Rapids rides. Grizzly River Run has a massive grizzly mountain, and it has 2 drops, so it's just way better than Calico and Shipwreck. Those drops are so much fun. The last one is actually pretty tall, and when you're going down the drop, it spins pretty violently. Like, it'll pin you to the side and then you splash down, so it's so much fun. In my opinion, it has better theming than both Calico River and Shipwreck by a landslide. Like, the cool growls that it makes when you go through some of those caverns is interesting. It has like some nice waterfalls. It has the geysers. I love watching this ride. I have so much footage of it because I just love hanging out around Grizzly River Run. It's one of my best friend's favorite rides, and I have so many memories of so many amazing people. It's no secret that I spend way too much time at Disneyland, so I've spent a lot of time with Grizzly River Run. I have a lot of core memories with this ride, and I hope to make more going forward. This ride is a bonding experience, and in my opinion, it is better than Radiator Springs Racers, sue me. Number 4 is the only attraction at Universal Hollywood. It is Jurassic World River Adventure. So this one's pretty interesting. I'm very openly a Disney person. Like, I've grown up in Southern California and I've only been to Universal Hollywood twice, but both times I walked away very impressed with this attraction. I never rode the original iteration of this version. I've been on River Adventure at Islands of Adventure, but I've only been on the Jurassic World version for Hollywood's attraction. But I do think it's really cool. I mean, a lot of people have pointed out that this ride is kind of in shambles, like the T-Rex at the end is kind of falling apart, but just those 2 massive animatronics is so cool. That's just a complete spectacle. It was so amazing. The first time I saw it, I was like shocked. I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then the drop is really fun. If you've never been on it, it's basically the same drop as Snake River Falls, which is kind of funny, which is now defunct, it seems. Cedar Point, rest in peace. Even leading up to that, like the storytelling is very well done. I'm not a fan of the screen, like I prefer the open air sequence in the original iteration that I got to ride in Florida. Like the screen is kind of lame with the shark dinosaur thing, I don't even know. But I do like that it like splashes the top and then water comes flying out at you. But like other than that, it's a pretty lame sequence. And then you get to see some actual animatronic dinosaurs. And then you go up into Predator Cove and like the tone completely changes. So it's very well done storytelling. Like the animatronics are pretty impressive. That lift hill is like low-key scary and it's dark in there. And seeing that blue animatronic is also really cool. So I'm a big fan of this attraction and it's honestly one of the main reasons that I want to go back to Universal Hollywood. This, and aside from the massive Intamin coaster that they're building, it's really just this ride and Forbidden Journey are my reasons to go to Universal Hollywood. But moving on to number 3, we're gonna go back to Knott's Berry Farm for Timber Mountain Log Ride. This is like one of the OGs. It's very, very charming. It's very, very fun. It is kind of dark in some of those dark ride sequences, which is like low-key eerie. Like I've gotten like chills in there before. Like especially after the first drop in the dark and you're in that like massive cavern. There's like water way below you and it's like really dark. I don't know. Just something about water moving in the dark is like kind of interesting to me. I don't know. But after you exit that cavern, you have a brief dark ride sequence. You go through a forest, you see a camper, you see a bear, and then you roll down through like a town. Then you reach the large lift hill and there's basically like dynamite there and they say like fire in the hole, and then you go down the big drop. So it's a very cute ride. The music is very catchy. It's very fun. I love Timber Mountain Log Ride. This is easily one of the most popular attractions at Knott's Berry Farm. So if you're visiting this park for the first time and this is a priority for you, don't overlook it because it's not like you can just hop on Timber Mountain Log Ride. Like it's actually gonna be, it's a decent commitment. Like Knott's Berry Farm has infamous operations, so Timber Mountain Log Ride is no exception. And as a popular historic family attraction, this gets wait times for a popular historic family attraction. But it is absolutely worth it. But moving on to number 2, this one's kind of a sensitive subject for me. It is Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I have an excruciatingly detailed video about my thoughts on this attraction. It's by far the longest video on my channel. It's almost 50 minutes long about this version of Tiana's Bayou Adventure at Disneyland. So if you haven't already, I 100% recommend that you check that out. But to summarize, Splash Mountain was my favorite Disneyland attraction. Like I absolutely love that ride, and I think Tiana's Bayou Adventure falls short for various reasons. The biggest one is the lack of emotional diversity. The story that it tells falls flat in my opinion. Like there's not much depth to this story. It's pretty one note. Like it's a cute attraction, the music is good, but in my opinion the Splash Mountain music was great and it had a better story. The animatronics are really cool, but recently they've been like falling apart. This ride, the final Tiana animatronic has been broken for way too long. Like I don't know what's taking so long, but it's been like months. Like for a while she was standing like a penguin and now she's just standing like normally. Like it's kind of unsettling. Like that's an important show element and I'm surprised that they've let it be in this condition for so long, especially when you consider the fact that the version in Florida has been operating for longer than this one. So why is it so difficult to have a Tiana animatronic? And it's consistently that one, the one in the finale, that's been having issues recently. So it's just very, very bizarre. A lot of the other animatronics have been having issues on like an irregular basis, but the consistent one is arguably the most important animatronic in the entire attraction. It's the final dancing Tiana. That's unfortunate. But this ride does hold a special place in my heart, and it ranks number 2. But for number 1, this one was very close to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It is Pirates of the Caribbean. This ride is a total journey. Like it is so long. Like it feels like there's 3 halves to this attraction. Like you got the bayou sequence, and then you're in the caves, and then you're in the life of pirates, but that's such a long sequence. Like you start and you see this massive ship set piece, which is very, very impressive. That might be the coolest set piece out of any of these attractions. Then you flow through the auction sequence, you flow through the chase sequence, and then you're in the burning city, and then you pass that jail scene, which is so iconic. All the animatronics are amazing. It's very, very charming. The music is also iconic. This is absolutely a Disney classic, and you have to do it whenever you visit this park. And unlike Timber Mountain Log Ride, this line moves very, very fast. I think, in my opinion, it's the fastest moving line at the Disneyland Resort, so if you're tired of wait times, I would recommend Pirates of the Caribbean. And those are my top 10 favorite water rides in Southern California. I do want to shout out Perilous Plunge. I never got to ride it, but I like drool over the footage of that ride that's out there. I'm really sad I never got to ride it. I wish I did. Also, rest in peace to Tidal Wave at Magic Mountain, which closed for Wonder Woman. I got to ride Tidal Wave once. It was really fun. There's a clone of it at California's Great America and at Kings Island, and they both have like decent airtime pops, so it's a really fun attraction. I love that ride. But Flight of Courage is way better. I love Wonder Woman Flight of Courage, which I have a review video if you want to check that out. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you later.